Okay, so let's start by introduce you all to the topic today, okay, which is cash budgeting. In fact, cash budgeting is one of the topic in short-term finance. Sometimes short-term finance is called working capital management. Okay. And in case you look at the textbook for short-term finance chapters, there are like 3 or 4 chapters in the textbook. Somehow, for the time we have together in this course FN201, I will just simply introduce you in the world of short-term finance, just only one topic among various topics there. Okay. The rest of the topics in short-term finance you are going to study in FN201 later on. Okay. Now, what does it mean by short-term? We are going to use the very same definition with accounting, which is something happened less than 1 year. Okay, this is what we call short-term finance. Okay, which opposite of what we talked about so far. Okay, think about capital budgeting. For capital budgeting itself, it is long-term in its nature because we talk about investment in year 0. After that, cash flow in year 1, year 2, and so on. Okay, so we are talking about long-term investment, or in terms of financial management perspective, we talk about long-term financial strategy. Okay, but for this one, cash budget, we are going to look at in a short-term time frame. So, in terms of cash budgeting, some firm will do it like monthly. Okay, so you have month number 1, month number 2, and so on. Okay, which we are going to talk about in terms of the monthly basis as well today. Okay, some firm, when it is a very large firm, they may decide to do the cash budgeting like every day, every week. Some firm may decide to do something like that. Okay, now the emphasis on these two perspectives, short-term and long-term, they are quite different because in terms of long-term or capital budgeting, we're concerned about profitability. For example, we look at profitability index, right? We look at NPV. So we talk about longer period of time rather than 1 year. Okay, this is in terms of capital budgeting. We talk about profitability, like profitability index or net present value or internal rate of return. We would like to concern about return or profitability. Okay, now for short-term finance, the emphasis is quite different because we would like to make sure that the firm has enough what we call liquidity. Okay, liquidity is quite crucial for short term, like not more than 1 year. Okay, that's why we talk about like current ratio, quick ratio. Okay, for these two perspectives, okay, even though there are difference in terms of liquidity and return or profitability, but two of them still use the same concept that okay, we would like to make sure that cash inflows, okay, versus cash outflow. Cash inflow must be at least equal than or greater than cash outflows. Okay, so both of them we still go on with the same concept here. Okay, but the emphasis in terms of the time frame they are quite different. Now, today for cash budgeting, we are going to look at monthly basis. Okay, and make sure that in each month we are going to have enough cash flow to pay for expected cash outflow. Okay, this is we are going to do. So month by month, we are going to gather all information about cash inflows, how much you have, and how about cash outflow, how much the firm will pay. Okay, and make sure that we have enough money for that. This is what we call cash budgeting today. Okay, in order for me to let you understand the process of capital budgeting, okay, I am going to do it this way. Okay, we are going to do them together step by step. But before we will be able to do that, you need to get all relevant information from reading the example or the case that appear on page 2 and 3. Okay, so please take your time to read information, okay, on page 2 and page 3, cash budget. Okay, so you are going to have the whole page for information on cash budget case on page 2 and half of the third page. Okay, so please take your time to read that. Okay. In case you have any question about information that given there, please ask. Also, when you read the case, please make sure that in case you find out any important information or important content that you think that you are going to use that later on, okay, you may highlight it or you may underline it. Okay, so please take your time, okay, to read the case first. Is it okay? Any question on information that you are given there? Okay. Before we are going to prepare the cash budget for the month of October, November, and December, we are going to gather certain information to be ready to start the cash budget. Okay. So when we would like to get the very first information to fill in the cash budget form, okay, we require to gather information on the working paper. Okay. And you may notice that the working paper, even though we prepare the cash budget for October, November, and December, we are in need for information for the next month, January next year, and also the previous 2 months as well. Okay. Now, when you look at the second bullet point, okay, we are going to compute the expected cash inflows from our customer. So we look at the revenue. Okay. In terms of the revenue, we know that in the month of August, we already sold out 5,000 units and also 5,000 in September. Okay. So notice that these 2 months, okay, August and September, they are what it's called actual sales. Okay, because we are at the end of September already. So units sold 5,000 each for August and September already occurred. But for the rest, starting from October, they are forecasted sale because we are going to go through these months in the future. Okay, so 10,000 for October, 15,000 units for November, 20 units for December, and January for 10,000. Now, these are units sold. Okay, we are going to calculate in terms of the money or monetary value. So units sold 10,000 in October. We want to compute the revenue, and our revenue comes from 10,000 units, right? Multiplied by 100 baht per unit. So the revenue that we are going to have, okay, in month of October, we expect 1 million as our revenue in October. Now, from that, okay, we have the statistic for our trade term, okay, that go back to bullet point number 1, okay. So we are going to give 3% cash discount to customer if payments are made within 10 days after purchase. Okay. For the collection, we gather information and we expect that collections within the month of sales equal to 25%, collections the month following sales 30%, and collections the second month following sales will be 40%. So even though we expect to have 1 million baht of the revenue, we are not going to get cash equivalent to 1 million baht because only 25% of our customer will come back to pay to us here. Okay, and not only in the month of October, in the month of November, okay, the customer will come back to pay to us another 30%. Okay, and another portion, 45%, the last portion, customer will come back to pay to us in the month of December. So if we see that we generate sales in October, okay, but our customer be able to pay us back until December, so it's somewhat like 3 months, okay, so our credit sale is somewhat like credit term of 3 months, and including 3% cash discount, so the credit term for our firm equal to 310 net 90 luckless. You know this one, right? The term that quoted like this, you have the term quoted like this since your accounting course. Okay, so in this case, it's 310 net 90 like this. Now, after we know the statistic that 25%, 30%, and 45% will be collected month by month. So let's put it this way, okay? Do not write it down yet because the numbers are not all of them correct yet, okay? But let me explain first. So you are going to look at row and column here, okay? For working paper here or cash budget here, okay, the design is that when we put any numbers based on the column here, okay, so when we put in this column, that will be the number for October, okay? And row will be the item we are talking about. So the first item here, collection within the month, and column of October or this one, okay, this box, we are going to fill in that out of 1 million revenue above here, okay, we are going to get it only 25%, okay, or 250,000 should be collected as cash in October. That comes from the revenue here, okay. But this one is not correct yet, okay. Please do not write it down. Just look at it and understand how I calculate it, okay. And the same amount, 1 million here, okay. We know that the customer, 30% of our customer, after we grant the credit, they will come back to pay us in the month following October or November. So this box, okay, the yellow box, second box here, based on column of November and 1 month later row. Okay, so this one must equal to 1 million. Again, revenue from October, but we are going to collect only 30% multiplied by 0.3. So 300,000 here. Okay, ready, right? Okay, and then finally, in the month of December, when we talk about the amount that collected 2 months later, okay, it must be 2 months later the revenue from October that we are going to calculate it here and equal to 45% here, okay? So for this one, equal to 1 million, okay, multiplied by 45% or 0.45. So we are going to get 450,000 here, okay? So this one based on the statistic here, 25%, 30%, and 45%. Now, not only that, go back to bullet point number 1 on the second sentence, okay? A 3% cash discount is given to customers if payments are made within 10 days after purchase. So, cash amount 250,000 here, okay, that we expect to collect in the month of October here, okay? We must know out of 250,000, how many of our customer they will come back and pay us within 10 days after purchase, okay? So go to bullet point number 1 more time, okay? Go to the sentence before the last one, okay? So 2 rows from below, okay? All collections received within the month of sales are made within 10 days after purchase. So this sentence means that for all collections received within the month of sale. So we talk about revenue we generate in October, and the revenue that we generate in October that we are going to receive within the month of sale or within the month of October, or 250,000 here. The case just simply assume that not the whole 250,000 we are going to collect as cash, because all of them will come back to pay us within 10 days, okay? So the actual amount of cash that we are going to collect from our customer will not equal to 250,000 because we are going to give them the discount 3%. So we are going to get only 97%. So again, come back to the whole calculation. 1 million multiplied by 25%. Remember, right? This is 25% of our customer that come back to pay us in October. And all of them will need to get this cash discount 3%. So we are going to collect only 97%. So correct answer for this box equal to 242,500 for the month of October. And these are correct numbers, so you may write it down like this. Okay. Get the logic of this table, right? Okay. This table is designed for us to put in the numbers cell by cell, box by box, that related to the topics on the left, row by row, and related to the amount of month, the month that we are talking about on the column here. Okay? So now, your turn. Please fill in all of these, okay, all of this table, okay, that I highlighted here. Okay, I think you know how to do it by now. Any question before I let you compute all of them here?
อาจารย์คะ Can you explain ไอ้ที่เป็น3/10 net 90ได้ไหมคะ
What does it mean by 310 net 90? What is this term means? You studied this term before, right? In AC201, right? Net 90 means that you talk about credit terms that you give the chance for your customer to get the product today as a credit sales. Okay, your customer already took the product, but they did not pay you cash today. You give them net 90 days or within 90 days, starting from the day that they take your product. They must come back to pay you within 90 days. If the word net in front of 90 days means that they are going to pay 100% on net price that you quoted for them. So for 1 million, okay, or 100 baht per unit, when they take 1 unit, they must come back to pay us 100 baht per unit within 90 days. But 310, okay, 310, 3/10 means that 3%/10 days. But you also introduce credit term to them, like cash discount here, 3%, to encourage them to come back and pay to you faster. Okay, you don't want your customer to come back and pay to you 90 days. So how can you accelerate your customer to come back to you? So you just give them 10 days. Okay, so after they take your product today, if they come back to pay you within 10 days, okay, not go to 11th until 90th day, the first 10 days when they come back, they will pay only 97%, or you give discount 3% to them. So 1 unit, you are not going to receive from them 100 baht. You are going to receive only 97 baht per unit. This is what the credit term here means. Okay?
Thank you ค่ะ
You're welcome. So please fill in the table here, and make sure that you get the correct total here that I show you. Okay? The total here, that I change the color here.
อาจารย์ครับ
ครับ
คือผมสงสัยคืออาจารย์บอกว่าไอ้ 3/10 net 90อะครับ คืออาจารย์บอกว่าจะ receive 3% discount if pay in 10 days ใช่ไหมครับแล้วคือแต่ว่าเดือนนึงมัน30 day นะครับแล้วเรา assume ไปเลยครับว่าแบบยังไงเขาต้องได้ส่วนลดเหมือนกันหมดทุกคนอะไรอย่างเงี้ยครับ
ใช่ครับเพราะว่าลองอ่าน bullet point ที่1อีกครั้งหนึ่งนะครับมันจะมีประโยคท้ายๆที่บอกว่าเรา assume ว่า all collections within the month of sales are made within 10 days after purchase
อ๋อโอเคครับขอบคุณมากครับ
fill in all the numbers here.
อาจารย์คะ
ครับ
มันจะมีกรณีที่แบบ collection receipt ไอตัวเขาเรียกว่าอะไรอะคะเหมือนกับว่า 3% discount จะให้คนที่จ่ายภายใน10วันใช่ไหมคะจะมีคนที่แบบจ่ายระหว่างแบบเกิน10วันแต่ไม่เกิน1เดือนอะไรอย่างนี้ไหมอะคะ
ก็มีได้ครับ
แล้วอย่างนั้นมันจะคิดยังไงอะ
ก็ต้องดูว่ากี่เปอร์เซ็นต์สมมุติว่าlet's assume that 25% that we are going to collect in the month of October. When the statistics just simply tell us that, okay, out of that 25%, the statistics tell us that 10%, okay, versus 15%. So only 15% that they come back and pay within 10 days, okay? So 250,000, so you need to divide into 100,000 and 150,000, and only 150,000 you are going to collect less than that by 3%.
อ๋อโอเคค่ะขอบคุณค่ะ
ครับ Okay, now let's go to the second part of the working paper. For cash disbursement, okay, you know the word disbursement, right? Payment, okay? For cash payment for purchase, this one will be the opposite of the above one because we are going to look at how we pay to supplier. Remember, right? In terms of the business, we purchase inventory from supplier and we sell to customer. The part that we sell to customer, we grant the customer credits. So we talk about it already. Now, the other part before that, when we order from supplier, okay, go back to the third bullet point, you are going to see that firm buys goods 1 month before sales are made. This is quite normal, right? For example, when we expect that in November, okay, we are going to create sales 15,000 units here, okay? We are not going to wait until the month of November and purchase 15,000 units here because the customer may come to purchase from us even on the first day of November. So we should be ready for that revenue or that sales on the 1st of November. So this cash budget just assume that when we expect 15,000 units to be sold in November, we are going to purchase 15,000 units here since the month of October. So we are going to purchase 1 month before. Okay, so put it here. Okay. So let me put another color here. Oh, sorry. 15,000 units. Now, this is in terms of the units bought. We would like to know how much we require to pay for supplier. Okay, so we need to find out that how much per unit that we order, that we pay to supplier, which definitely not 100, right? Because 100 is selling price. We should purchase lower than 100 baht per unit. Okay? Can anyone find out what is the price per unit that we order from supplier here? So we are going to have 15,000 multiplied by that price. Hint for this one is that please look at gross profit margin 35%. So you are going to know cost per unit, which is equal to 65. So in October, we order 15,000 units. Per unit, we need to pay to supplier 65 baht. In total, okay, 975,000 here. Okay? And for 975,000 here, okay, we are going to pay them 1 month later because we are granted credit 1 month. So So from 925,000, we are going to pay 925,000 1 month after that. Okay. So we are going to have here. And in terms of total cash disbursed for purchase, we have only one amount. We do not pay them in a layers like our customer. So we have only 1 month credit. This is what we have. Please fill in, okay, the rest. And you must have the same answer that I put for you here. Okay, 650% and 1.3 million for December.
อาจารย์900,000มาจากไหนนะคะ
15,000 units multiplied by price per unit that we order from supplier. Okay, after we have information from working paper, okay, so we have total cash collection from sales 617,500 in October and so on until December. And also we have cash disbursement, the payment that we are going to pay in cash for our supplier, 650,000 in October and so on, okay? Now, the reason why we calculate these two because we would like to know the exact amount of cash we are going to receive from the revenue. So you may notice that the revenue equal to 1 million in October. It actually does not translate into 1 million cash. It translates into cash only 617,500. Okay? And in the month of October, even though, okay, we order from supplier 975,000, but cash payment that we pay for supplier in October is not that amount. We pay 650,000 here. Okay? So, cash budget started from here. Okay. In terms of cash budget, we are going to fill in. Okay, first, total cash that we are going to receive from whatever source of cash inflows in each month. But fortunately for this firm, we have only one source of cash coming in from collected from sales, right? So remember, right? This is the same color as before. Okay, so we just repeat all the numbers there, and total will be the same thing. Okay. In case you have other source of cash inflows, you just put it in here. And finally, total up here as well. Okay. Now, for the first cash disbursement or payment must come from purchase. Okay. So again, we repeat the numbers here from our working paper previously. Okay. Now, the rest here. Okay. I would like you to put all cash outflows there. Okay, so what you want to do somewhere here is you are going to fill in all cash outflows for each month. And what are they? Okay, first of all, for sure, okay, you need to put in all expense that require to be paid in cash. Okay. So, in parentheses, okay, any expense that is not cash expense, do not put it in. can be other cash outflows that are not expense. So put them here as well. Okay, so this is what you have here. Okay? So fill in all information here. Okay? Make sure that put all expense that the firm require to pay in cash. When you see any expense that it is non-cash expense, you are not going to put it here. And apart from that, there will be something that the firm may require to pay in cash, but its nature is not expense. Put it here as well. So total up, you are going to get total cash disbursement below. Okay, so I give you the total here as well. So make sure that you get the total equal to what I provided for you here. Okay, take your time, fill in all the numbers there. In case you miss the amount equal to 7,250, okay, you are actually comes to the correct path. Okay, just find out this amount. In case you miss, that's exactly equal to this 7,250. You are already correct for the rest.
อาจารย์ครับ
ครับ
1,000 กับ 6,200 นี่มาจากตรงไหนนะครับ
For 1,000 and 6,250, one hint is that please read the section of the bordering in that for very last one. See that, right? The interest of all loans are paid at the end of each one. Okay. So find the interest for outstanding loans.
โอเคครับ
ครับผม Okay, the next step, starting from the following rows, okay, or the next row on, we are going to do it column by column, not row by row like before. Okay, so the first one, net cash received or paid. After we get the total of the amount of cash received, right, and we have only from collection from our customer, okay, and total cash outflows equal to 882,250, okay, we will be able to calculate net cash in October, which we know that it must be deficit. Okay, so we pay more. Okay, so 617,500, this is what we receive in total cash. But what we need to pay, total cash, we expect to pay 882,250. So we are actually short of cash, okay? 264,750. This is what we have. Now, fortunately, okay, when you go back to look at last bullet point, the statement of financial position, you can see that we have cash brought forward 200,000. Okay, so it will help us a bit. So for 200,000. Okay, when we have that, so we are going to have cash deficit less than that. Okay, so we are going to short of cash only 64,750 equal to this. This is what we have. Is it okay? Now, do not write it down yet. Okay, let me explain next. Okay. When we short of cash, the bullet point of the borrowing saying that if we short of cash, we can borrow short term, okay, called overdraft or OD. Okay. OD or overdraft is the account that we can open with the bank, and the bank grant the credit for the firm. So if the firm deposit nothing into OD account, the firm still be able to withdraw from that account even though the firm never deposit any amount of money there. Okay, so the amount that the firm can withdraw from OD account, that amount the bank will look at it as the borrowing from the bank and will charge the interest equal to 12% per year. Okay, so from this one, let's think about this one. Okay, when we have cash deficit of 64,750 here, okay, the rule is that we need to borrow. The rule for borrowing and repayment, the case say that you are going to borrow in multiple of 100,000. So even though we short of cash only 64,750, okay, we are not going to borrow 64,750 because we cannot do that. The bank just forced us to borrow in multiple of 100,000. So we may borrow 100,000 here. Okay. We may borrow 100,000 here. Okay. If we borrow 100,000 here, okay, what happens is that we are going to have enough money to pay for the cash deficit 64,750 above, right? Okay. So it seemed to us that we should borrow 100,000 here. Okay. Now, another information that the case just forced us to do is that we must have minimum cash balance, okay, equal to 200,000 in each month. Okay, so this is what I usually put as my reminder, okay, for 200,000, sorry, 200,000. I remind myself that, okay, for all the month there, okay, I need to have 200,000 each month. Okay. Now, if we borrow again 100,000 here, okay, and we pay for cash deficit 64,750, we are going to end up with cash balance this box, okay, something like 30,000 only, which violate the rule. The rule say that at the end of each month or this row, okay, we must have at least 200,000. So it is not correct to borrow 100,000. So I must change 100,000 to borrow more to end up enough here, okay, equal to at least 200,000. So I need to borrow 300,000 instead. Okay, and since this is a very brand new in the principal borrow for short-term borrowing, okay, we haven't calculated interest expense yet because I assume that when we borrow at the beginning of the month or here at the beginning of October month. Okay, after we borrow since the 1st of October, at the end of the month of October, we also need to pay interest expense for this 300,000. So for 12% of 300,000, I need to pay, okay, interest expense here equal to 3,000 for this one. Okay, so I need to pay 3,000 here. Now, ending balance here, okay, will equal to 232,250. This one comes from what? Okay, this one comes from, let me put it one by one. Okay, so we short of cash 64,750, right? Okay, and then we borrow 300,000. After that, we pay interest for this new borrowing 3,000. Okay, so we are going to end up equal to 232,250. Okay, and I also also remind myself, okay, regarding new amount of short-term loan here, which equal to 300,000. Okay, 300,000 here. Okay, amount of short-term loan. Because we just borrow new amount here, 3,000, so I remind myself here. For example, if next month we borrow even more here, like 100,000, so the following box here will equal to 400,000. Okay. Now, if this is ending cash amount, okay, so ending cash amount here must turn to be this amount, right? Beginning cash on the month of November. So we are going to repeat the process here for the month of November and December after this. Okay, so your turn to fill in all the numbers for November and all the numbers for December here. Okay? Any question for the process here? So please fill in for November and December. After you finish this one, turn to the following page. You are going to redo another part of the whole one here, okay? But I just simply changed the amount of net cash received or paid here, the first row. So I want you to see on the redo part to see the case of repayment. Okay, any question?
อาจารย์คะ300,000นี่คือมาจาก minimum cash balance ของเรากับอีก 60,000 แต่ว่าเขาต้องให้เรายืมได้ทีละแสนเราก็เลยเป็น300,000หรือเปล่าคะ
300,000 here, which one?
principal borrow.
This row or this row? Principal borrow, right? Okay. So if you borrow this one only 100,000, okay, it will not be enough because think about it. If this box is 100,000, we pay for this one, right? 64,750. So you are going to end up here, the yellow here, okay, yellow cell here, around only 30,000, okay, which is not correct by the rules. Since ending cash balance, the case force us to maintain at least 200,000 in each month. Okay, so we cannot borrow this box only 100,000. We must borrow another 200,000 to spare as our ending cash balance here. So this one is another checkpoint. Okay, it must be minimum of 200,000 or more. Okay, and in case of borrowing, if it goes beyond 300,000, okay, means the firm borrowed too much. And make sure that you get all the answers there. Okay, I put all the answers for you for ending cash balance.
อาจารย์ครับตรงinterest receive อะครับตรงเดือน November นี่คือเราต้องเป็น 6,000 หรือเปล่าครับเพราะมีของแบบเดือนที่แล้วอยู่ด้วยอะครับ
เราคืนเขายังเดือนที่แล้ว300,000ที่ยืมมา
ยังไม่ได้คืน
ถ้ายังไม่คืนใช่ไหม if for the month of October we borrow 300,000 and in case the month of November you would like to borrow more new short-term loan okay more new short-term loan for instance if you borrow another 100,000 in November so total up in this box okay the box that I show you the cursor here accumulate so the cumulative new amount of short-term loan will turn to be 400,000 and you will pay interest here in this box equal to 4,000 you are correct okay?
อาจารย์ครับ
ครับ
ขออีกทีได้ไหมครับว่าทำไม interest receipt มันเป็น 6,000
it is actually interest paid not interest received
ครับ
box let's assume that this box okay the one that I highlight this cell okay in case you tell me that you need to borrow another 300,000 okay so last month that we borrowed 300,000 we haven't repaid the principal yet to the bank right and this month you borrow here another 300,000 so total up these two boxes will equal to this box okay cumulative new amount of short-term loan equal to 600,000 so you owe the bank up to the end of November 600,000 so the interest that you require to pay here must equal to 6,000 or 12% of 600,000
โอเคครับขอบคุณครับ
ครับผม
เคสไหน interest ถึงจะเป็น receive
In case that you have excess amount of cash on hand, it means that you do not have any borrowing. So you can put that cash into the bank accounts and earn the interest revenue. Okay. But for this one, when you go back to the bullet point that talk about the borrowing, okay, the last sentence says that cash is kept as cash on hand. So we do not earn any interest there.
อาจารย์ครับต้องรีดูอะครับคือพอปีสุดท้ายมัน200,000คือเราต้องดีว่าเราคืน interest เราคืน principal ของเป็นแม่ครับ
So the role of principal borrow or in parentheses repay, if you repay, so that role principal borrow will be negative ครับ
อ๋อโอเคครับ
And let me move down to let you see ending cash for the redo case, okay, is below here. The blue cells are ending cash balance for the redo case.
ค่ะ for cumulative new amount of loan คือเราเอามาใส่เราเอา principal มาใส่ได้เลยไหมหรือว่าเราต้องเอามาบวกกับของปีที่แล้วด้วยค่ะ
cumulative what does it mean by cumulative the word cumulative what does it mean
รวมเหรอคะ
โ and following that, you are going to prepare income statement and statement of financial position. Okay. When you prepare income statement and statement of financial position, please prepare them based on original data, not the redo case. So I just leave you to complete this one by yourself, okay? And you may see the answers on the screen by now for income statement and statement of financial position. So we actually start with accounting cycle for this course, and I just simply ended up with, again, accounting cycle, prepare financial statement here. Okay? So these are the answers. Actually, that's it for the whole course. Somehow I still be here if you still have any question, okay?